Sometimes you just gotta dance, baby, because there's so much stuff going on. There's just too much to handle. Oh, yes. My timing's probably off because of the delay to my headphones. I'd like I don't even know what key this song's in. There we go. Yeah, I can't time that. Can't play anything in time when there's a delay. All right, let's just get started. Let me bring the chat room in on this. We're just grooving. We're moving. We're grooving. Sounds about that, huh? Listen, I forgot almost that I put a fade button in there. Hi, welcome everybody. Sorry I'm late. The show is normally late on Friday or on Thursdays anyways, but on top of that, we had at Ethan's new place, we had an AC issue. And so had to go over there and do some technical support, as it were, for the that kind of stuff. And I was right about what the problem was. That's all I'm going to say. On top of the fact that I also helped disassemble and reassemble a bed and put together a dining room table in like just a couple of hours. I gotta say, I'm like, this is House Sparks Mega Worldwide, the greatest live stream in the history of live streams, and that I'm House Sparks, and I will be House Sparksing the rest of the evening, and House Sparksing like no one else can House Sparks. But on top of that, I am king of the honeydew list. Let's just admit that right here. Let's just not beat around the bush, ladies and gentlemen. If there's something complicated, possibly dangerous, that requires wire strippers and the proper size socket wrench and also pre-drilled holes to make sure that when you're attaching something to the wall, not only does it go in cleanly without mucking up the wall itself and the surface, but also it stays. I got to tell you, I started like many of you start, my humble Jesus-y beginnings. Not quite the carpenter that Jesus was, but I could fuck me up some IKEA furniture. I was king of the Allen wrench, and still am. Just I can whip something together. I can free ball a piece of IKEA furniture just by looking at the available hardware. Okay, just say yes. I'm one hell of a guy. So, anyways, it's Las Vegas, so you cannot have the AC not working. That's all I'm saying. So it was a matter of just safety and love. So I had to go do that, and here I am. And let me tell you something. I feel like on some level I haven't missed much. Let me show you. This is I almost feel like remember this guy. Hold on. And by the way, chat room, don't forget, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Patreon.com/HouseSparks, Venmo, and then of course super chats always welcome. Great way to support the show, etc. By the way, Facebook is currently down because don't get me started. But we're on Substack and Instagram, so I feel like I'm making up for it. So if you're on either of those sites, just give me a thumbs up. Or actually, if you're on Instagram, I probably need an angry emoji from you, or something like, "I can't believe it. I'm horribly offended," because that helps me in the algorithm more than excellent point. Well done, sir. Well played. And also, if you're on Twitch, throw around some bits, will you? If you watch on Twitch and you enjoy the emoji thing, if you have Amazon Prime, it won't cost you a dime to subscribe. I'm just saying, throwing that out there. I'm trying to get more of our side on Twitch to reach that particular audience, but also so that I can raid folks like Trucker John did coming into the show, and we can raid out that way. So hopefully we'll get everybody else on board. Don't put your eggs in one basket, kids. And the only advice I will give anybody about not doing a social media network is stay the fuck off of X and TikTok, because they are cesspools and they make money for terrible people. Why don't you wear just Xinjiang slave cotton while you're at it? All right, so here we go. Now let me show you. Remember Danny Bols? Dan Bols? We haven't seen Danny Bols in quite some time. Here's Danny Bols. That guy, this guy right here, that's Danny Bols. And Danny Bols is reacting like much of the right wing is reacting to um, the signal breach, the violation of our national security by the dipshit squad. And Danny Bols, you can almost track the what is this? Uh-oh, this might be something. Ah, fuck me, it's something. Kind of arc of understanding in this by looking at Danny Bols. So Danny Bols, let me scroll this up for you so I can see it there. Danny Bols with Joe Hoff, leftist meltdown over signal snafu. Um, by the way, snafu does not mean a mild mistake. Snafu, fuckwad, means situation normal, all fucked up. So everything's fucked up just like normal. So if you use snafu about the Trump White House, what you're saying is this fuck up is normal for them. What he meant was foobar to some degree, I guess. It's a foobar-esque moment. Sure, why not? So do you understand what I'm saying? So, anyways, leftists, why the fuck do you have to be a leftist to give a shit about war plans being leaked on an unsecure app you can download on the Apple Store? Why do you have to be a leftist to give a shit about that? It's scary. And also, again, not all Democrats qualify as leftists. Don't believe me? Ask leftists. They'll be the first to tell you. Secondly, there are a lot of Republicans who sure as shit don't like this, and they're not left of anything. FUBAR, by the way, fucked up beyond all recognition. Just in case you know, snafu, situation normal, all fucked up. FUBAR, fucked up beyond all recognition. Now, a snafu bar is, I mean, yeah, I think you saved that for Armageddon. Hashtag snafu bar. Situation normal, all fucked up beyond all recognition. Snap bar? Situation normal, fucked up beyond all recognition. I feel like it should have the snafu bar just rolls off the tongue better. Okay, so now this is page one. This is like 3 panels on it. Who out there in our chat room used to enjoy Garfield, maybe Bloom County, the 3-panel comics in the back of the newspaper? Were we ever so innocent as a people? Don't worry, it's coming back. Believe me, when AI takes over every job, the amount of leisure that will be available to people again will make us all look like a bunch of loungeabouts, and the Sunday New York Times read will be, a major social event. But in those 3 panels, always loved them. For a full disclosure, I collected Garfield comics, the collections that they would put together, and Bloom County. So those were my 2 ones. So yeah. Anyways, don't know what Doonesbury was often. There was often a parallel, there was almost like a fight between Doonesbury and Bloom County, like they were jockeying for position and style. Yeah. Peanuts, always great. Always great. Very innocent. Very lovely. Far Side, single frame, didn't qualify. I'm not including that. Family Circle and Far Side. Most of the Far Sides were single pane. Although there were strip Far Sides on occasion. I'll give you that. But yeah. So that said, consider this panel 1 is my point. This is panel 1. Leftists meltdown over signal snafu. Number 2. And that's, by the way, the 325-25, 326-25. Dan Ball with Jonathan Gilliam. More text released in Signal scandal. Not really any modifying adjectives there. None of this leftist bullshit about the fucking, I don't know what they're even, does anybody even know what they're talking about? I mean, come on. None of that, just like more text released in Signal scandal. I'm currently pooping. Just notice how they get real like base very quickly, just like just the facts. as it were. Just, we don't really need to expound on this, okay? We don't need to draw attention to this, okay? It was a fuck up, maybe.
Just the facts, ma'am.
That's all we need. All right. So that's the second one. Here's the third one. Dan Ball with rep timber shit. Bossberg assigned to signal case. That's the judge, I guess, that was assigned to look into this. It's wonderful. It's like an arc. Like, this is fucking nothing. These guys are flipping about some other stuff came out. That's not good. Oh, a judge has been assigned. Oh dear. Now, we could watch the sort of part of it, but I prefer to jump right in on the hubris when Danny Ball's, or I think it's just single, right? Yeah, Dan Ball. He's a one nutter. Dan Bull. Nobody was texting war plans. You know how I know? He said nobody's texting war plans. Also, we're not at war with Yemen. We're just bombing them. Okay? So it's a bombing plan. Okay? So that's the big way around. They're all following Hegseth on this fucking hair-splitting political language bullshit. Which, by the way, can we just say to Dan Ball and all of his ilk everywhere, hey, shut the fuck up about politicians and Washington and their disconnect and Main Street, and they don't know how life, they don't talk like normal people or whatever. You're doing the same fucking thing, you weakling. Same thing. Same fucking thing. That's all you're doing right now. Well, I mean, technically, if you want to, obviously, these were not war plans. Neil. So let's see what a young Danny Balls before his innocence was stolen by battle plans being posted in a fucking chat group. Oh, really? We're gonna have an ad? 1 cup of it lowers blood sugar. I am not drinking anyone's urine. Right. Here we go. No, I don't want a second cup either. I'm driving. Thank you very much.
Joining me now, talk about the text messages, talk about the Trump response.
Yeah, we're just talking about it. Calm the fuck down. We're all right. I know you guys are upset. Like, it's as if, before our pilots flew over a dangerous area filled with anti-aircraft weaponry, somebody just blabbed about it in an unsecure chat room that was shared on personal devices, and
talk about who these lying pieces of you-know-what are over at that rag that I wouldn't wipe my rear end with, called the Atlantic.
Okay, first of all, look, I don't mind the politispeak where you're kind of like digging a hole for Trump and then burying yourself in it. But can we stay away from the like poo-poo caca jokes without saying at least poo-poo caca? Can we at least just go, I wouldn't wipe my my hiney with poo-poo caca with their kappa, whatever, with their shit rag. Just say shit rag, dummy, you weakling.
Guy and his brother, they run the Gateway Pundit, my friend Joe Hoft. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe. Would you have published this story if you had been accidentally added to it? Or would you just thrown some fucking America First emojis like an American flag and an eggplant and a squirt?
Hey, great. Yeah, great to be here. Perfect. Great, as always.
Well, I thought we'd have a little fun. I got to stretch before I go after the Atlantic. There we go. Now I'm feeling in the...
Why? Because, well, I guess, a junior varsity team. I'm giving them way too much credit. A toddler soccer league going, playing in the World Cup, I suppose. I think you would want to stretch.
So this Goldberg clown, he did...
This Goldberg clown, a shitheel that works for a magazine you wouldn't even wipe your ass with, who got access to a private chat room that if they saw Dan Ball's name in this fucking chat, they go, what the fuck is Dan Balls? Who let Dan Balls in? Bye, Dan. Right.
Very fine people. He wrote multiple articles on that one, the suckers and looters. I mean, he sucked up.
Yeah, it's starting to look like he gets evidence and sticks to it, because if this is any indication, he actually has access. He's actually sharing real stuff. The National Security Agency has verified this. In retrospect, it's making the stuff he wrote before look truer, dum-dum. So stop bringing it up. If you keep bring up that he's a scumbag, it's worse for you guys because you shouldn't have added a scumbag to the chat. If you bring up that he purveyed a bunch of shit you hated before, and this is true and it's verifiably true, people start looking back at what he said before and went, hey, maybe what he said before was verifiably true too. Maybe he does have access. Maybe he was in the circles of people who were saying, this motherfucker said suckers and losers. These assholes don't know when to stop digging.
Milley and said that Milley saved the country because Trump was going to get us in World War III. This guy is a known propaganda.
By the way, according to Trump, we're basically going to bomb Iran in a month. He sent him a 2-month deadline. We're a month into that. They basically said, fuck you. So again, I would tiptoe around the, he's not going to get us into World War III at all as well.
I'm not excusing, Joe, the fact that it sounds like, what was it, Mike Waltz's staffer in...
Yeah, I'm not excusing his staffer, whoever they are, probably fired already, don't know who they are. And obviously we all fire, we all have staff people that accidentally add people like this to chat rooms and stuff. It's obviously Mike Waltz didn't do it.
Goldberg on this Signal chat.
Yeah, and the CIA head and the DNI head and the SecDef and Waltz himself didn't notice. He was still in the chat, in the listed members of the chat the whole fucking time, which you can scroll down at the bottom and fucking see.
On the app. Now, my question would be first and foremost, and maybe you found out from your connections in D.C.
Yeah, I mean, obviously connections in air quotes, because it's not like you have the kind of connections that allow you to get added to a Signal group. Please continue.
Staffer do it on accident or on purpose? Because we know some of these bureaucrats, just because they work for Republican members of the House, Senate, whatever it may be, some of these kids behind the scenes you can't trust. So this was a staffer. Walt said it was an accident. What are you hearing about the actual inclusion of Goldberg on the chat?
Okay, great setup. So you still don't get it, do you, you dipshit? You never will, but just for the sake of all of us to be able to clarify the dunking points on this shitheel. Dan, Bull, over here, Mr. One Nut, listen. It doesn't look good that the head of the CIA and the National Security Advisor and the DNI can't spot people on their staff who are working for the other side or might subvert them by allowing a reporter in there. Do you understand how it makes them look more incompetent? If it's done on purpose by a staffer. And again, how ham-handed is this? If the kid's doing it on purpose, whoever this person is, they obviously, there's a whole fucking chain of how they got added, when the messages went out. It's right out in the open. So if they were trying to subvert the whole thing, they must have gone, oh, they'll fucking see this person. I'm going to add him, but they'll, just so they know it's in his phone, I'm just going to remind them, just, you shouldn't have these people in your phone, so I'll add them in there so they'll see it. Like, the only reason you would do it on purpose like that is so that they would notice that you could add them on purpose. Maybe you're trying to scare them off fucking Signal.
Well, that's a great question. It certainly brings, that's the first question that, crosses your mind, like, how the heck did this happen?
Right.
Sure. Yeah. I have an idea, though. Trump is a moron surrounded by fuck-ups. He's the mayor of fuck-up city.
Mike Waltz, when Trump picked him, I was a bit leery. I think he's done a fine job to date, helping out with foreign policy.
Yeah. I can't think of a single thing that's gone wrong via his office so far. I mean, besides accomplishing nothing until doing this,
etc. And but we do know there's information about his wife being connected to the World Economic Forum.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, so good. Okay, This is a great out. Yeah, you guys should hammer the shit out of this. While you're at it, bring up Bessent being gay, having adopted, or I think he might even have they might be his biological children, his partners, whatever, having a gay with children and used to work for Soros. Bring that up as well. He was in the chat. Maybe it was his idea. Maybe the guy who used to work for Soros told the guy whose wife works at the World Economic Forum to add the reporter who's a sleazebag from a magazine nobody reads through a subversive staff member that really has it out for America that you apparently didn't recognize, even though he managed, whoever this person is, it could be a woman, I don't want to be sexist, managed to punch their way to the top of the intel world. Fuck off.
The Atlantic Council. So that was kind of,
Atlantic Council. She's probably taken a cruise on the Atlantic Ocean. She might have even been a big fan of Patrick Duffy, who starred in The Man from Atlantis, which has, she may be prescribed Mylanta at one point before it became over the counter.
Leaves you to think, why was this guy even picked? Was that not vetted? But anyways, that's through his wife. I don't know if a staffer leaked this or tied in Goldberg, but it's really, and it's,
well, the White House.
This is good so far. Okay. By the way, I want to say both of you doing a bang up job. I feel much better about it. If I was a maggot, I would be completely, I'd feel like, okay, I thought this was a scandal. This is just, we're gonna put this in the fucking rear view mirror in a matter of hours.
Joe, let me interrupt. Yeah. The White House did say it came from Mike's office, and then I believe his office claimed it was a staffer who included the phone number in the chat. It wasn't Mike himself.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So, I mean, what do you expect? Do you expect in a private, group, including the vice president of the United States, the DNI, and everybody that it's, you're not going to occasionally add a civvy to that anyways?
My whole point. All right, so let's put that aside. We'll put that on the shelf.
Right.
No, you can't put that on the shelf. Fish stinks from the head. Mike Waltz has to take responsibility for his fucking staff, or he doesn't. And you can't lay it off on a fucking nameless staffer because, again, that staffer, in adding that person, that's a crime if they did it on purpose. So they need to be brought up on charges, period. If you're insisting at all, fuck you, line stops, everybody drops their shit and takes 2 steps back. If that's true, that staffer subverted our national security by including a reporter in on this in the most ham-handed bullshit way possible. And apparently on the idea that, they'll never notice because they're all so fucking stupid. And so this person, if they did that on purpose, that's treason. But stop, just throw that. They probably did on purpose. You can never trust these kids. No, fuck you. If they did it on purpose, they got to go to jail for a long time. Secondly, this chat room allegedly initially was set up where they would not share top secret information. They were discussing, what would be effectively executive privilege level stuff that's not for public sharing, like the fact that J.D. Vance thinks Trump's a fucking moron and is too much of a chicken shit to tell him to his face, but alludes to it softly in signal groups. That's probably something you don't want to share with the public, but it doesn't qualify as top secret. Right? I think we can agree. Doesn't qualify as top secret. And then Pete Hegseth fucked it up for everybody and dropped top secret classified level material into the fucking chat and blew it. You blew it for everybody, Hegseth, you fuckwad. If you'd have just said the bombs are away, praise the Lord, hallelujah, like you're fucking Martin Sheen in the Dead Zone, you'd have gotten away with it, you shithead. But you had to cut and paste shit that you saw on the schedule of the bombing, and you took it on whatever device you were using, your desktop or whatever, and that clearly had both the secure and unsecure shit on the same device. You cut and fucking paste it. The idea that Pete Hegseth retyped that shit, in which has to be a question when he's in front of Congress, because the only answer he can give is, I plead the fifth. Because if they see the files that included them and he typed it verbatim from memory and didn't like look over and type it that way, which is just as illegal, he's in deep shit.
Let's talk about what was in the text messages, because
Yeah, let's talk about what's in the text messages before we find out that they absolutely did text battle plans. Dan Paul and all these assholes threw themselves under the bus for Pete Hegseth, somebody who they are jealous of and angry at because he was just a Sunday morning Fox host. This motherfucker's on every night of the week on this dipshit OAN channel, like the one anus network, the orange anus network that just kind of hangs like a prehensile tail that, evolution should have gotten rid of a long time ago on the right-wing media monkey. It's just this fucking nub that just still sits there. But he works his ass off compared to fucking Hegseth.
Pete, Tulsi, JD was in there, the VP. They all say, we didn't discuss anything classified or top secret. As a matter of fact.
As a matter of fact, which turned out not to be a fact.
We've got a couple of the messages that have already been released.
A couple of them. Can I just say, I know I'm interrupting a lot tonight, but get used to the idea. Can I just say, if you know there's a story coming out about you, and they have access to your text messages, your emails, this thread in this particular case, anything even remotely like that, and they release 8 or 10 lines from it, and you have access to it, maybe, just maybe, before you say, what's the big fucking deal? Nobody cares. Nothing happened. Maybe just open up your fucking phone and do that. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck me. Okay. God damn it. When was that? Oh, God, fuck you, dude. All right. New talking point, everybody. We're done. At least peruse the fucking thing. Yeah. Facebook is up again. Good.
There's 3 of them here. So let me show you a few, folks, and then I'll get your take on this, Joe, because...
Oh, by the way, one nut here and everybody else in that crowd, Greg Kelly, that crowd, they're all jumping on this. I fucking hate Europe. You hate Europe too, don't you? And because what they want to do is take this conversation and make it like that's the problem people have because leftists like, I don't know, the earth.
As far as I'm concerned, they were talking it up, and then when they went to get specific, they moved over to a private skiff channel, which...
Hold on. Do I have something? Wait, I have to have something along these lines. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go into here. And what's the settings on this one? I'm going to go in here. Hold on. Yeah.
As it would turn out, there would indeed be classified information on the chain.
I think that worked. Maybe. I don't know.
secured and not this app.
Don't get me wrong. I fucking love watching these assholes just dig a hole.
So here's a couple things. You got JD saying to Pete, if you think we should, let's go. I just hate bailing Europe out again. I kind of like that JD's giving Europe a little crap. They deserve it. Let's make sure our messaging is...
Yes, I know. Especially all those people in America of European descent. Fuck them, right?
Right here. And if there are things we can do up front to minimize risk to Saudi oil facilities, we should do it. Pete says to the VP, I fully share your...
Yeah, I love that part too. I was a big fan of the whole, like, really? You just, this is really about the Saudis? Well, remember that for later, though, by the way. Can you, everybody in the chat room, put a pin in that for me, will you? The whole, they want to do this to benefit the Saudis.
Loathing of, keep going, guys, I think we got 2 more. And they're talking about POTUS and Europe and Egypt and, okay, nothing there. Let me see the next one. I'm looking for any top secret classified because I haven't read all these.
Mm-hmm. The following day. Should we just jump to it? Fuck this. Like, right in the, let me see what he says at the end of this, and then we'll jump to the next day. Oh, boy.
Good start from Ratcliffe. Mike Waltz, we got some emojis with the fire and the flag and the fist. Good job, Pete and team. Team Mal did a great job. Yeah, okay, let's go back to Joe. I don't see any classified information in the ones I see right there.
Yeah, you mean Jeffrey Goldberg, who had access, arguably, to classified information, according to him, didn't release any of it until they said it's not classified?
No, and we're hearing from the experts that there is no classified information.
Yeah, experts. Thank you. Thank you. The elites finally chimed in. Thank you. Trust the experts. I agree. Finally, we have some experts. Who are the experts again? Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert's date.
So immediately that.
By the way, for the record, expert at what? Because I'm expert at a lot of things.
Goldberg's report. Goldberg's trying to say that. That's the shocker about it, and there was nothing there. And it makes me think, and I'll say a couple things here, Dan. Just
yeah, keep walking, buddy.
One thing is about this guy Goldberg. He was involved, like you said, in that whole incident where they said Trump said that all military are suckers and losers.
Yep.
Well, that's obviously, there's nothing in Trump's record that has ever suggested that he would say anything but high regard.
Yes, there is. There's some specific. Oh, you motherfucker. Yes, there is. You know what it was? I like people who weren't captured. He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people who weren't captured. That's worse, you dumb motherfucker. Suckers and losers is just a toss away. But saying that prisoners of war aren't heroes, by the way, specifically in the case of McCain, somebody who, because of his rank, could have left. He could have been traded away. He could have said, they would have let him go. They would have given him to try and, bargain with him, but he stayed with his guys. Of course, he said shit equal to and worse than suckers and losers. Fuck off. He said John McCain wasn't a hero because he was captured. Why do you think he would give a shit? He said that about a sitting senator, a former presidential candidate for his own fucking party, a man who was injured as a POW so badly he can't lift his arms above his fucking shoulders, and a person that I clearly had disagreements with on a myriad of policies, but served for all practical purposes honorably in his life. Trump isn't fit to polish the fucking anus of John McCain. And yet he says of him, a sitting senator and a very high-ranking senator at that, who'd been reelected multiple times, served honorably his entire time in office. He said he wasn't a hero, even though he was a POW, almost specifically because he was a POW. So do you think he holds the average, blue-collar enlisted person at a higher level than that? Grunts who die in battle? Of course he said equal shit. God damn. John McCain suffered with the wounds of torture his whole fucking life. That's why his arms went like this. They broke his fucking shoulders. He was injured, and then they set him and put him in like a wood cast thing, and then broke him again. Fuck you. Fuck these guys. How do you do that? How do you fucking, and honest to God, none of us take these assholes seriously. But I don't know the Joe Hoft from fucking Adam, and we've seen Dan Ball a few times on this show. But how do you stoop that fucking low that you defend a dude like Donald Trump who said that about a POW? Again, this is when these assholes throw around shit like Trump derangement syndrome, and I'm sure we have some maggots in the chat that think that I suffer from that. Let me tell you something. I don't need Trump derangement syndrome to hate that motherfucker. Just what he said about POWs, just what he said about John McCain is enough. But on top of that, he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for a quarter fucking century. And the question I will always ask you, and I will continue to ask you, is how many years would it have taken you to figure out that Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile? And I bet in your defense of your own ego, it's less than 25. I don't need another reason. I don't like his policies, but that I can hate the policies of a fucking any Republican and talk about why I think these solutions won't work for these kind of problems, right? We can argue on a political level, but Trump is a fucking scumbag. He's an adjudicated rapist, and he was a buddy of Jeffrey Epstein's. Like, Epstein flew on his plane arguably more than Trump flew on Epstein's. Both of Trump's places of, where he lived primarily in New York and in Palm Beach were less than a 9-minute cab ride from Jeffrey Epstein. You think that's a fucking accident? This is a giant goddamn country. And most maggots, if you ask them, like, hey, if you had, you had Trump money and president protection, wouldn't you have a giant fucking ranch in Montana or something near NORAD? Instead of, like, in the fucking landing path of Miami Airport. But then you'd have to live more than 9 minutes away from Jeffrey Epstein's hub. These guys are so gross. Okay, so this is how they're doing it, though. They're whatabouting. Let's jump to the next day. So obviously it's a different dude. Bouncer at the Blue Oyster. And Jonathan Gilliam. More texts released.
A local nonprofit taking a bold step today to increase the amount of affordable housing here in Oklahoma.
Beautiful.
A local nonprofit taking a bold step today to increase the amount of affordable housing here in
Oklahoma. Here to weigh in on the scandal, because it is. And again,
it is a scandal. It wasn't yesterday, but it is today.
I'm not trying to poo-poo it and say it doesn't deserve attention and it was
That's what I said yesterday.
wrong. But I'm also not going to be like the lefties going, the sky is falling. Everyone should resign, from Tulsi to Pete to Mike. Trump should be embarrassed. This is horrible. Troops almost got killed because of this. Yeah.
All of that is true.
Not going to blow it up like that because it doesn't require that. He's a former FBI.
It doesn't require that. So 2.5 hours before our aircraft are over an area that they're sent to bomb. The information was released on an unsecure app that involved a reporter who, had he been less honorable and more sympathetic to the I don't know, the Houthis on some level, or more just like willing to chase down a lead and call someone for confirmation on something and let it leak out, could have put our soldiers, I mean, it could have gotten them blown out of the fucking sky, period. It's a thing. It's real.
Agent and a Navy SEAL, Jonathan Gilliam, back on the program. Jonathan, you may have a difference of opinion than me. What do you think of this whole mess?
Well, I think, first of all, let's start from this point and go backwards.
Okay.
I think the way it's been handled by the Trump administration has been horrible. I think I think it would have been better to say, we have an issue, we need to make it a policy, regardless of what was put on our phones. We now see that this is a vulnerable app, and we need to.
Hold on. We now see they got a fucking memo before they even took office. This is not a good sign. I got to tell you, the surface of my fucking cell phone does not scream national security. I don't care how much Apple says they honor privacy and the like. I agree on some level, right? That they're great at it. But the idea that Trump is pro TikTok and these motherfuckers are using their private phones to communicate is bad.
Start tightening up our security. And then they could make the
start. Yeah, start tightening it up.
That the Biden administration did this. We went.
No, they did not. Nope. No. They were allowed to use Signal because of its encryption for non-classified and non, what was the intent to classify material, like scheduling with your family and shit like that, like the normal stuff that from a spy level, you might not want out because if people know which grocery store you're going to and they wanted to destabilize the country, they could Seth Rich you or something like that. So better to talk in those areas. But it's not on the scale where you have to cover, everybody in the government who's a federal employee or in the administration has to cover every step that they take. It's just best practice. But they didn't disclose battle plans on there ever. Fucking ever.
Long, and we shouldn't have. And now we're going to tighten that up.
Good
That's
point.
all they had to say.
Good point. As far as the info, I mean, you've seen stuff. You were a Navy SEAL.
Stuff. You've seen stuff.
Classified.
Right.
You've seen top secret. You were an FBI agent, special agent. You've investigated. I'm sure you've seen classified and top secret stuff. I read the new ones that got dropped today by Goldberg. Some of it's very sensitive. Tulsi and the rest of them say, though, it's not classified. Do you agree that sensitive is different than classified material?
Well, I don't see. I can guarantee you, Dan, if they went and pulled the papers that had the mission plans on it, those papers are classified, and any information that's on there that's classified is also classified. So,
okay, I don't care that this guy is. First of all, thank you for your service, whoever you are. I don't know Jonathan Gilliam, but he seems an honorable guy backed into a corner because he's realizing he backed the wrong pony. But so far, so good. Maybe that's why Danny Bull was like, you'll disagree with me from the jump.
I've got, the text that everybody else is seeing right here in front of me.
Yep.
And, it's talking about specific times, the type of aircraft that are going to launch, and then updates to follow. And it doesn't give specifics, but it is giving operational information on an open source encrypted civilian app. And anybody would get fired for that in the military. Anybody. It's not, this
Sure.
is not,
Sure.
There is only.
No, Dan. No, sure. You can't just drop a fucking sure. Sure. After all the fucking Hillary Butter emails shit, right? All about yesterday's whole thing about lefties being lefties. No, you can't. Sure. Oh, sure. Fuck you, sure. That means that little bitch fest you had at the top about the left's calling like everybody should step down and there should be an investigation and glurk. This guy is agreeing with me, with my crowd, with my representatives in the House and in the Senate, and with a good portion of your own fucking party's side that are going, hey, fuck this. That was bad. This is not something you just shrug off, ever. Sure.
Pete should get fired, though, just because he's sec deaf, because this came out of Mike's office, and it wasn't Mike, it was an assistant.
Hey, asshole. No, fucko. It's not that it came out of Mike's office. It didn't come out of Mike's office. Mike set up a chat and accidentally included this guy. Pete is the one who added the classified shit to the chat. The rest of it could be sensitive, and they could have argued. They could have had the rest of the conversation. But the minute Pete put this shit in there, everybody became complicit in a crime. Dumbass.
So shouldn't the assistant be fired, and then maybe Mike falls on the sword and steps down, or does, I don't know. But the left's calling for everyone's head, involved in the messaging.
Right.
They want Pete gone, Tulsi gone. Again, they didn't want to prove or confirm any of these people in the first place.
Right. So President Trump does things unconventionally, right? And
yeah. And there is there's an international convention on warfare, for example.
I'd like to see him handle this. If I was advising President Trump, I'd say this is what veterans would want to see, which is what he should do. He should reprimand everybody that was on that chat, because these people run the agencies, and they're the ones who are going to be responsible ultimately for disciplining other people who have done the same thing or who do.
All right, I take it back. Not only do I just blanketly respect this dude, I fucking love him. Yeah. Well, it's so weird. I feel uncomfortable that to hear someone talking sense It's almost like this guy's snuck into OAN the way Jeffrey Goldberg hacked his way into the Signal chat.
Gotcha. And I think so. That needs to be shown, is that they are all being disciplined for taking part in high-level meetings, whatever classification was, high-level sensitive meetings that would not be released to the public on a civilian app that is not approved. There's only one app that's approved from what I can see, and that's Microsoft Teams Government. And that is an app that they can use. And then there's other apps.
Right. Which, by the way, they have. And it preserves all the conversations because of the legal requirements for it, unlike Signal. And on Signal, you can choose to either keep that conversation or you can scrub it when you're done. When you shut down the group, it just vanishes. They just had to notify all the Doge guys, too late, to preserve their Signal stuff. All their Signal chats. Hold on, I'll show you this. This, you know, the irony, the fallout that's happening is much more, you know, it is being felt everywhere except the people involved in this fucking chat. Except the Signal group. The rest of them are all fucking tap dancing around this, and Trump is like running interference because of his own weak fucking ego. But in the meantime, everybody on the side is going, hey, buddy, the record-keeping instructions come amid fallout from the Signalgate scandal. White House reeling from the revelation that Defense Secretary Agnes shared sensitive military attack plans. I would say top secret because they were before they happened. They're sensitive after the fact because maybe you could learn tactics and stuff from it after. But before, they're top secret. With colleagues on a private messaging app, sent some new instructions this week to Doge staffers. Preserve your Signal messages. The records retention policy was adopted for the Department of Government Efficiency on Monday. Just as the Signal scandal was unfolding, it was revealed in a lawsuit challenging the Doge initiative's record-keeping practices because people want, you know, they're a bunch of FOIA requests, and these motherfuckers are not preserving stuff. And we'll get to that later.
And things that they have as well that are government.
Sure. But, Jonathan, in their defense, didn't I see in one of the messages when they felt they were getting ready to do really classified sensitive stuff or whatever, they then said, let's move over, and they moved over to a skiff or something different, and they left Signal, correct?
I maybe. But here's the thing, Dan, is that the information that they did give out, if it did get out into the wrong hands, I mean, because we have this reporter there, if he pushed this out, this is the type of information that can cause political change in other countries so that they will modify what they do or change what they do. This is the president's cabinet that was meeting on this app.
Right. And
so when we see the way that this guy was chopped in, it's nefarious. I don't trust the guy.
No, God, no.
This is the fallback. Yeah, he's nefarious and terrible. And the fucking NSA's office put him on the chat. So fuck you. Like, as bad as that person is, if you let him in, you're worse. If Jason Voorhees is outside the house, Jason Voorhees is a terrible, dangerous individual. No question. A serial killer with a ridiculous sense of style and clearly questionable personal hygiene. He's outside the house. Terrible, terrible person. It's bad enough that he exists. But whoever lets him into the house is responsible for everything he does once he gets in. Do you understand how that works? That you're actually worse because you know what he's going to do. You know who he is. If you think he's a scumbag or a danger or malicious or nefarious or evil, and you let him in, you are responsible personally for all that evil. You are, not them. If you let a pit bull into the nursery school, it's not the pit bull's fault anymore. And it certainly isn't the fault of the shaken babies.
Rick Goldberg last night. You know his background.
Yeah.
I mean, the
all
guy
the
wrote a
say
book
about him is true.
The guy wrote a book saying that General Milley saved the country and the Constitution from Trump. The guy perpetuated suckers and losers. The guy perpetuated very fine people. This guy is a leftist piece of shit. Now, here's my question.
Wow. We moved past duty at this point. You can tell that Dan has just given up.
why'd he release the material? If he thought this was so classified, sensitive, and could get people hurt.
I don't know, read the article, asshole, like the rest of us did. Because Tulsi Gabbard, the CIA director, and Pete Hegseth all said it wasn't classified. They effectively declassified it under oath in front of Congress.
A reprimand towards a journalist releasing classified, if it was classified information, because
it was declassified by the hearing. It's arguably classified before that.
I get that he got it by accident. It isn't like he went in and stole it from the government, but once he...
Well, he got it by accident. An accident he did not cause.
Received it, he should have reported it to the Trump administration. And then why would you want to publish all of it if this is so classified, if you're trying to help save lives? Again, I'm going to throw, I've been a journalist 33 years. Now I'm an opinionated talk show host. If I got included.
Yeah, because you were a shit journalist, I guess.
Signal, because I do chat with members and different people on Signal, and I got sensitive info, I'm not going to publish it for the world to see immediately.
Yeah, because you're a propagandist, dumb fuck.
Contact the administration and go, somebody effed up and gave me this stuff on accident.
Yeah.
But I'm not going
to. Right. That's why it's the fact that somebody like you would be at the idea that somebody like Dan Bull added to one of these groups, that he would even achieve the level where they would invite him, is fucking hilarious and pathetic and obviously not going to happen. But follow me on this. This should make it even worse, Dan, because you, in theory, are on their side. You would have responded when you heard this stuff by sending more like fucking eggplant emojis, asshole. They brought in a guy you said was a scumbag. Why do they have his number? Why didn't anybody double check? Did anybody say, hey, before Hegseth says we've got 100% OPSEC, operational security, he didn't at least check that everybody in the chat who's listening to it is supposed to fucking be there. He did not have 100% OPSEC, period. Even without fucking Goldberg there. Joe Kent shouldn't have been on it.
Publish it.
So here's where we get into criminality. If this was a conspiracy to get him in there on a chat, and we find that somebody else was responsible for on purposely putting him on that chat, then now that we've got two different problems. Right now we got a criminal issue where a guy basically and somebody else has maneuvered to get him into this chat room, which it skates legality, the information being released. All this stuff it's skating the legality of what.
This is going very well. I don't envy this dude. It is hard to polish this turd.
It can do, but we still have the other problem.
I got it.
Of the way that these people are
Let me bring up
so,
two headlines and then get your take on this, okay?
Yeah.
The Atlantic, 8 years ago. Please bring this headline up, Chris. 8 years ago, The Atlantic praised the Signal app as the gold standard, okay, in 2017. There it is. This is The Atlantic, the same paper.
Predictable. The Atlantic praised Signal app as the gold standard in 2017 and admitted Obama, Hillary, and Trump staffers all used it. Yeah, but not for top secret classified shit, and didn't bring in reporters accidentally. This is the same thing as like Hillary's server. Tell me one piece of top secret information that caused any damage to the United States the world over that was allegedly taken from her server, and you won't find it because her server was actually more secure than the State Department server at the time. It was a higher standard. Also, Signal is the gold standard. But it's not good for platinum level secrets. So let's see if we go The Atlantic. Mm-hmm. 2 days ago, AP News Signal used their return to a chat leak. Signal used by members during 2017. 2 days ago. Signal says it's the gold standard. So maybe they're quoting it? Yeah, Signal refers to themselves as the gold standard. This is what is Signal, the chat app used by U.S. officials to share this thing. This is March 25th. This is newer. An app. Blah, blah, blah. I'm looking up the article he's referencing because you'll notice in this that it doesn't show the link for that. They don't show the Atlantic title. It's somebody else's cut and paste. Reached an associate who's behind Signal. It's a nonprofit, right? It's open source, which is even more sketchy. Yeah. So this is the only thing I can find in here, but is it secure? Signal touts the privacy of its service, and its head defended the app's security practices on Tuesday. Signal is the gold standard in private comms. Meredith Whittaker, president of Signal, said on X without directly addressing the Atlantic report. Experts agree Signal is more secure than conventional texting, but it could be hacked. Government officials have used Signal for organizational correspondence, such as scheduling sensitive meetings. But in the Biden administration, people who had permission to download it on their White House-issued phones were instructed to use the app sparingly, according to a former national security official who served in the administration. The official, who requested anonymity to speak about methods used to share sensitive information, said Signal was most commonly used to notify someone that they should check for a classified message sent through other means, like check your email. Check your message, because it could pop up on their private phone, but they won't know that something's going to happen. So by the time they checked it, this person has already checked their email that it may have had to do with something else that was going on. In the Atlantic article, Goldberg wrote that some messages were set to disappear after 1 week and some after 4. Encrypted messaging apps are increasingly popular with government officials, according to a recent Associated Press review, right? Because they don't preserve the stuff. So, all right. It calls itself the gold standard, so it could very well be a quote. Thanks, Jonathan. I like me too.
Goldberg, the editor for, said Signal is great in 2017. Then...
Also, nothing has happened since 2017, I would like to say. Nothing at all. Especially on the geopolitical front, and in terms of our allies and enemies in the world. No new battles have broken out. No new technology has come into fore.
More, and the final question to you. Tucker Carlson says that his Signal account was hacked and he was spied on by the NSA and CIA just a few years ago. So now I'm going to go real down the rabbit hole. If the CIA and these bureaucrats in NSA and intelligence who hate Trump and his team can access Signal, why can't they, instead of this female staffer, add a phone number to it and send it over?
Check 1, check 2. Fixed it. Sorry about that. Wow. I don't even know what that was. I just looked over and the meter was just going, wah. I hope the noise wasn't painful. I don't even know what the noise was. Yikes. What were you doing? You crazy, crazy thing. This is what happens when the NSA starts messing with me and they hack my stuff and I got to start using a VPN. Back up. Sorry. That was just odd. I don't know what that was. That was just ugly. All right. Where were we? Just take a rest. We're okay. I'm going to make sure. Hold on. I've got to check my audio to make sure stuff still works.
Oh, God. Sorry. I farted.
Okay. Hey, we're back. We're okay. So sorry. Yeah.
Call me Snake.
All right. Well, okay. We'll work out the rest of the kinks later. Well, fine. Fine. All right. This is what happens when I go up against the NSA and the DNI and all these other folks and call out their bullshit so effectively. I must be doing something right because the everyone in the NSA is mad at me. Is that how it works? Is that how it goes? That's all you got to say? All right, now, female staffer. That's where we were before shit hit the fan.
Team Trump didn't do anything wrong. This was a setup, because why would they call Signal the gold standard in 17?
Because in 2017, it was the gold standard. And also Candy Crush was the new hotness. Also, Twitter used to be useful even back then. Twitter used to be It was like necessary almost, and had a value for things like the Jasmine Revolution.
They're able to hack it, and they say Signal says you can't hack it. Tucker says he was hacked and spied on by our government through Signal, and now all of a sudden a reporter from the same
All of a sudden, 4 years later,
damn paper mysteriously gets these plans. Final question to you. How the hell does that all happen, Jonathan?
Trump's a fuck up who surrounds himself with fuck ups.
Well, I mean, it could be where they did that. I mean, this, I think, ultimately.
Hold on. Stop. Stop. Everybody drop what you're doing. Take 2 steps back. It doesn't matter if somebody hacked his way in and slipped him in and that it can be hacked and all this kind of stuff. Hegseth posted those war plans, period. In an open source, obviously unsecure app. It doesn't matter about anybody else involved. He committed a crime. And everybody who stayed on the chat after that participated in that crime. It doesn't matter. If it's hackable, and oh my God, they were able to hack it, the NSA can hack it or whatever, then all of these assholes were fucking stupid for having this conversation on that hackable chat group, because they could have had it on the other chat group that was permissible, that was secure. They could have used that, because nothing they said on there wasn't for anybody else in the, like, they weren't hiding it from other people in the government unless they were worried that Trump would read some of the shit J.D. Vance was saying. But in that case, Trump doesn't read. Why bother? It doesn't matter if any of it's hackable. It doesn't matter if somebody nefariously put Jeffrey Goldberg in, or he walked in accidentally, or Mike Waltz fucked up and got him in. The crime, the actual crime, started when Hegseth posted the timing, the materials, and the weapon systems, and the direction of the attack before it happened in an unsecure, private, open source app. That's when the crime started and continued on after that. It was just dumb up to that point. It was just stupid. Hegseth is singularly responsible from taking this from stupid to fucking criminal. Sorry, let me rephrase. Hegseth is personally responsible for taking this from fucking stupid to fucking criminal. How about that?
What this shows is why the administration has to be so careful in everything they do. So let's say the CIA does.
Why weren't they?
Part ownership of Signal, or they're doing something. Let's
access,
say that
just access.
Let's say that other guy, Goldberg, was put in there and they planned this. Okay, all that stuff is nefarious, but that is what President Trump and his team are working against. And so they have to be smarter. They have to be better.
Yeah, but in all fairness, they can't. They can't be smarter, or they would. They cannot be. You can't. They have hit a concrete fucking ceiling. They cannot even, not even a glass ceiling where they can look past the limitation. The limitation is there to fucking stay. They're not getting smarter, and they're not going to get more secure. They're going to stay egomaniacally weak and vulnerable.
Pete Hegseth, all these guys, Mike Waltz. I love all these dudes. But man, this was amateur hour, and they are above this.
No, they aren't. And look at Dan Balls. Yeah, amateur hour. Shit. How do I fucking amateur? Well, shit. How do I say this in a way that people don't understand that I wanted that job more than Pete Hegseth, and I think I deserve it because I'm. You think his ego's big and his fuck up capability is strong? I can. Well, all right. Whew. All right.
2 months in, this is a great.
Why? Wait. Don't 2 months in, motherfucker, and then do Illuminati hand gesture. What's up?
Lesson. Thank God the airstrikes were very successful. Nobody got hurt. I don't think it hurt any relations, except, JD bagging on Europe, which I kind of liked, saying they need to.
And the president.
own damn load. I'm getting tired of playing World Cup. You probably are too.
That part I liked.
Right? Yeah, I love JD saying I'm tired of doing it. Yeah. So let's not use Signal anymore, folks. And let's find out how in the hell a left-wing reporter got included on that, because I
think it's a great, yes, I agree. Let's find out how a left-wing scumbag, the worst of the worst, they didn't accidentally let Jesse fucking Waters into this chat.
it was intentional. Jonathan Gilliam.
Dan, can I say one other thing real quick? Is that what you're doing is what the rest of the MAGA supporters, Trump supporters, we need to be able to criticize and say they did this wrong. And they, the administration needs to be able to say, yes, we did it wrong and we're moving forward. If they do what they're doing now over and over, they're doing exactly what the left does. They're just spinning stuff, and it looks bad for them because these.
And by them, I mean you, Dan. I mean you. This fucking like nonsensical politispeak managerial turd polishing you were doing at the top of the show has to stop, Dan. Save yourself.
Experienced people as opposed to the left who are a bunch of.
Right. Back to here. Okay. So, they were just wrapping that shit up at the end.